Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we are continuing to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, Text 11. So get into the division of Shukadeva Goswami offering prayers to the Lord and seeking His mercy so that he could properly reply to the questions that is being asked by Parikshit Maharaj. Also we saw the previous class what are all the questions that Parikshit Maharaj requested Shukadeva Goswami to enlighten on. Those were the questions very much with regard to the creation of this world, how the Lord is creating this world, how He is acting through the three modes of nature, how He is acting through His various expansions. So several questions are asked, so we will deal with that. And some of the answers will span the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So we are now going to see text 11 today. Shukadeva Goswami glorifies Lord Sri Krishna and offers his respectful obeisances to the Lord, 11 to 18. So while Shukadeva Goswami, before we go into the topic of offering obeisances to the Lord and the spiritual master, we will also offer obeisances. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vaibhava Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vaibhava Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatamine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shukadeva Goswami glorifies Lord Sri Krishna and offers his respectful obeisances to the Lord. Text 11 to 18. Text 11. Suta uvacha yityupamantrito rajnya gunanukatane harehe Rishikesham anusmritya prativaktung prachakrame. Suta Goswami said, when Shukadeva Goswami was thus requested by the king to describe the creative energy of the personality of Godhead, he then systematically remembered the master of the senses and Sri Krishna, and to reply properly he spoke thus. Rishikesham anusmritya gunanu katane harehe. It's mentioned. So he is trying to remember the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who is called as Rishikesha, and by remembering him, he felt that he will be able to properly submit himself to the Lord, and he will be deriving strength by the Lord's mercy to properly respond to the questions that is being posed by Sri Parikshit Maharaj. Proper attitudes before beginning to speak. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. The devotees of the Lord, while delivering speeches and describing the transcendental attributes of the Lord, do not think that they can do anything independently. They think that they can speak only what they are induced to speak by the Supreme Lord, the master of the senses. The senses of the individual being are not his own. The devotee knows that such senses belong to the Supreme Lord, and that they can be properly used when they are employed for the service of the Lord. This is Srila Prabhupada in the purport is exactly setting the mood of a devotee who engages in any service. Because from Ishopanishad, from Bhagavad Gita, and from various other scriptures, we learn that the Supreme Lord is the owner of everything. He is the controller of everything. Everything belongs to Him. And we will see in several purports, Srila Prabhupada will be repeating this point, because we have forgotten this important and basic point, fundamental point, that Krishna is the owner of everything. He is the controller of everything. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. He is also the well-wisher of everyone. This we have forgot. So Prabhupada, many places he reminds that. So here he specifically says that the senses of the individual being are not his own. The devotee knows that such senses belong to the Supreme Lord, and that they can be properly used when they are employed for the service of the Lord. This is a very simple point, but this is Maya, means we forget this. We completely forget this. Gita is my body, my senses, my hand, my eyes, my legs. I would like to enjoy the way I want to. But that very attempt to enjoy the senses the way we want to enjoy results in frustration, results in disappointment. So this is a point which we need to properly understand to make progress in spiritual life. The senses are instruments and elements are ingredients, all endowed by the Lord. Therefore, whatever an individual can do, speak, etc., is under the direction of the Lord only. When a devotee is fully surrendered, he has this mood. Whatever I speak, whatever I do, without His mercy, I can't raise my hand. Without His mercy, I can't see anything. Without His mercy, I can't hear anything. Without His mercy, I can't smell anything. Without His mercy, I can't taste anything. So that is the understanding of a devotee. And he feels that whatever I do, because when a person submits to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is acting completely as an instrument in the Lord's service. What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nimitta matram bhavasavya sanchim. Just become an instrument in my plan. Everything will be perfect. That's what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Sarvasya chaham risannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. No one is free to act freely and independently, and as such, one should always seek the permission of the Lord to act or eat or speak. And by the blessing of the Lord, everything done by a devotee is beyond the principles of the four defects typical of the conditioned soul. This we can see in every act that we perform in the Lord's service. Before, let's take various services for the Lord. That should be the mood of any devotee. Before one engages in deity worship, first of all, he offers his obeisance to his spiritual master. He offers his prayers before performing any activity in the service of the Lord. Before we start to lead Kirtan, we first of all glorify our spiritual master. We glorify the founder Acharya. Through the Parampara, we glorify the Panchatattva and all the devotees serving the Panchatattva. And then we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Isn't it? Not that we just directly sing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Before a devotee enters the kitchen, he first offers obeisances to the Lord and seeks His mercy. He begs for His mercy, so that the preparations, whatever that I will make, will be very nice for you, my dear Lord. In fact, before even beginning the day, the moment we wake up, we first offer our obeisance to the spiritual master, and we pray to our spiritual master and to the Lord. Oh, my dear Lord, let me engage completely in your service. Let me not use my senses and mind unnecessarily on mundane things. Let me, my prana artha diya vacha, shreya acharanam sada. Let me engage it in proper way so that I will always be absorbed in the service of your lotus feet. This is how we should get tuned into the Lord's transcendental service. If you are tuned in, we are very safe. We will not be affected by Maya. We will be completely absorbed. We will be fully satisfied because Krishna is pleased. We will see in one of the purposes that Srila Prabhupada says that when a devotee, selflessly surrendered devotees, engages in the Lord's service, the Lord becomes controlled by that. So this is the beauty of devotional service. And in this particular purport, we see the attitude that is being set by Srila Sukadeva Goswami. How he is seeking for the mercy. Although he is a liberated soul, he is completely Paramahamsa, devotee. But still, he is seeking mercy of the Lord. He is asking for the Lord to empower him so that he can speak. We can see also amazingly Rai Ramananda Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Samvada. We can see Rai Ramananda at one point he says that you are the orchestrator. I am being orchestrated by you. You are asking me questions and you are actually, you know everything. But I am just an instrument, just repeating. What do I know, my dear Lord? Like that, he is very humbly presenting. The moment we think that I know, I am aware, I know what it is. That means we do not know anything. That's the reality. Okay, let's proceed. Now, the prayers are beginning. Sri Shuka Uvacha Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Sadudbhavastana Nirodha Leelaya Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Antarbhavaya Upalakshya Vartmane. Shukadeva Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who for the creation of the material world, Sad Udbhava, the creation of the material world is being mentioned, accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable. Anupalakshya Vartmane, his ways of creation, his ways of dealing with the material energy, his ways of dealing with the creation, is inconceivable. He is sitting in one place, simultaneously he is spread in all the other places. So that's the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Now, in this verse, we can see he is acknowledging that the Lord is behind the creation, right? Because the question is about creation. The first prayer itself is offering, my dear Lord, you are inconceivable. Your acts are inconceivable to comprehend, and you have entered everything. Without you entering anything, what is this creation? You enter each and every. You enter the universal body. You enter the universe. And then you enter into the hearts of, he comes, Lord, Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and then there is an expansion of Shirodaka Sai Vishnu. As Shirodaka Sai Vishnu, he enters into every planet, right? He enters into every atom also. Every atom, every heart, living entity is there. So, how simultaneously he could do all this activity, this is inconceivable potency of the Lord. So that is also addressed in this verse. Okay, let's see what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. Prabhupada says, Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know Him, because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called Anupalakshya Vartmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. So we many times in Srila Prabhupada's purport and other talks, we see that this point of Krishna's Achintya Shakti is being explained. Without accepting the inconceivable potency of the Lord, we can't understand or appreciate the Lord. So that is after having submitted himself, acknowledging the powerful creation of the Lord by his inconceivable potency. Now immediately Shukadeva Goswami, he starts to continues with his prayers by acknowledging how the Lord, who is inconceivably powerful, can deal with his devotees also simultaneously. The simultaneous, it's called as the multi-processing. The Lord is expert in that. We may not be able to do that. I may have difficulty, for example, I have to deal with, I'm dealing with some boys in the Gurukul, simultaneously to deal with some other things and some other, various other activities that may happen in the temple. It will be very difficult for me to do that. Because I am very tiny jiva. My capacity is very less. Somebody may be more empowered. Some other soul may be more empowered. He can parallelly do many activities. But the Lord can do multiple activities. How it is possible for Him. That's why He is Bhagavan and we are tiny jivas. We should just glorify His ability to perform these multifarious activities. Okay. How He is now dealing with His devotees, we will see. Text 13. Bhuyo namas sadvrijina chide satam asambhavaya kila sattva murtaye pungsang punah paramahangsya ashrame vyavastitanam anumrigya dashushe. So he says, Bhuyo namaha. Again I am offering my obeisances. To whom? Sat vrijina chide satam. So, Vrijina, distresses, all the Lord who can remove all the distress of whom? Satam, of his devotees. Asambhavaya kila sattva murtaye. And then he can Akila sattva murtaye. He is the embodiment of existence. This is explained here. He is the embodiment of eternal existence. Let's go. I will just read the translation. Again, I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees. So, Sadvrijina Chide Satam, and then it is said, pious devotees from what? from all kinds of distresses. He could liberate the devotee. Vrijina word is being used here. He could liberate the devotees from all kinds of distress. And the destroyer of further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. So non-devotee demons can never touch the devotees. Wherever Krishna is there, they cannot influence the devotees at all. So that is being addressed here. Asambhavaya kila sattvamurte. Okay. Pungsam punah paramahamsya ashrami. Then he says, for the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, he grants their specific destinations. For each and every soul, he grants their specific destination, specifically for his devotee, for his paramahamsas. Paramahamsa, transcendentalist, he sets their destination. Krishna sets their destination. Otherwise, he doesn't involve. Everybody according to their karma, they go to different destination. He doesn't personally involve. But for his devotee, Krishna also says in the Gita, what he says, he lifts the Teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagar bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Krishna personally comes and delivers these devotees. Personally he comes, yes, he personally comes and does it. That is his affection for his devotees. Okay. Form of complete existence and transcendence. Akila Sattva Murti. Prabhupada elaborates on it. He explains that how the Lord has got a transcendental form, and the less intelligent man who is not aware of that particular form, Prabhupada immediately bangs the point that they think the Lord to be impersonal. Okay. So then further he explains the term Sad Vrijina Chide Satam Asambhava. He is liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. So simultaneously he does something. He protects his devotees and then he annihilates the demons. So Prabhupada here, he very nicely points out how the affection that the Lord has for his devotees. He says, just like a kind father, either in his favor upon the devotees or his punishment of the demons, he is ever kind to everyone because he is the complete existence for all individual existence. It's very nice when he's saying like this. He is ever kind to everyone because he is the complete existence for all individual existence. For all the living entities' existence, he is the because of his existence, all the individual existence are taken care of. Now, here, Srila Prabhupada also points out the point, here, a point is made regarding the punishment that the Lord gives for the demons. So, it is Acharyas are pointing out, Srila Jiva Goswami is pointing out that this activity of punishing the demons, who does it? Let's take Krishna Leela in Vrindavan. So, the Swayam Rupa Krishna does not deal with it, right? So, that's the point here. So, the other Krishna's other expansions deal with this annihilating the demons. This is a note that is given by Acharyas. But with respect to all the loving dealings with the devotees, the Lord's Swayam Rupa deals with that. Okay. Lord is factually understood by the Paramahamsa. The Paramahamsa stage of existence is the highest perfectional stage of spiritual values. According to Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord is factually understood by the Paramahamsas only. Tata Paramahamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartam Katang Pashyemahi Striya. Okay. So, according to Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord is factually understood by the Paramahamsas only. So, Prabhupada goes on to explain different levels of sannyas, and then he speaks about the Paramahamsas. The Paramahamsas are generally found among both the impersonalists and the devotees. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, as clearly said by Kunti Devi, pure Bhakti Yoga is understood by the Paramahamsas. And Kunti Devi has especially mentioned that the Lord descends, Paritranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya cha Duskritam, Dharma Samstapanarthaya Sambhavami Yugevi. Especially to award Bhakti Yoga to the Paramahamsas. So ultimately the Paramahamsas, in the true sense of the term, are unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami has directly accepted that the highest destination is Bhakti Yoga, by which one renders transcendental loving service to the Lord. Those who accept the path of Bhakti Yoga are the factual Paramahamsas. So he says that who are those Paramahamsas? The Paramahamsas are one who are completely engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So that's being emphasized. Now, Srila Prabhupada points out what are the destinations, the position of the Paramahamsas and the Premanandis and the Brahmanandis. Prabhupada is quoting Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. that there are two kinds of people, Premanandis and the Brahmanandis. Premanandis are the transcendentalists who are engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord. Whereas the Brahmanandis are those who are absorbed in Brahman. They don't accept the personal form of the Lord, but they want to absorb themselves in Brahman. So, is the destination same for both of them? No. Both of them have different destinations. So, that is being pointed out here in the purport. So, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur points out that you are the giver of the bliss of Brahman to the Bhakti Mishra Jnanis and the giver of the bliss of Prema to the pure devotees. Vyavasthitanam. The word is being marked by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. Now, let's go to the text 14. Namo namaste sturushabhaya sattvatam vidurakashtaya muhukku yoginam nirasta samyati shayena radhasa swadhamani brahmani ramsyate namaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. His transcendental opulence is immeasurable, is marked by the word Samya Atishayane Radhasa. So nobody is equal to him, and he always gives problem to the non-devotees. Prabhupada addresses the word Kuyogina. We will see that. Okay. Prabhupada gives a background of that. The members of the Yadu dynasty or the family members of the Yadu dynasty or his constant companion, and then he further says that for the pure devotees he is the constant companion, as in the case of his becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or is becoming the friend of Arjuna, or is becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavana, as the son of Nanda Jashoda, the friend of Sudama, Sridama and Madhumangala, or the lover of the damsels of Rajabhumi, etc. These are the aspects of his personal feature. Now, in his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of the Brahma Jyoti, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahma Jyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered with the darkness of the Mahat Tattva. And this insignificant part is known as the material world. So, we many times we have heard this, In this entire spiritual sky, in one corner there is little clouds that form. Sometimes there is a cloud. And that cloud, when being glanced by the Lord, by Lord Mahavishnu, Pradhana is agitated and the Mahatattva, that then, Mahatattva is there, and the creation is there. So that is what is being mentioned here. Now, let's see what Shukadeva Goswami is further addressing. He says that the Lord is always problem for the non-devotees. Non-devotees have difficulty in handling him. And he is very, very far away from the non-devotees. That is also Prabhupada is pointing out here. Okay. Here Srila Prabhupada says, as the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahma Jyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavana, the topmost spiritual plant in the spiritual sky. The mundanes have insufficient information of even the mundane sky. So what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore, the mundanes are always far, far away from him. With their tiny rockets, they are having difficulty reaching even the nearest planet, the moon. Therefore, what can they conceive of the spiritual sky and the planets there? Even if in the future they are able to manufacture some machine whose speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind or mind, the mundanes will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. It's way beyond the imagination. So the Lord and his residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem for them. But for the devotees of the Lord will always be available as an associate. We see one in millions, we see some scientists have some idea of an anti-material world, like we read in the last class. We saw some scientists, they have a conception that there should be an anti-material world. Prabhupada discussed that in Easy Journey to the Planet. Srila Prabhupada quoted that, one of the purpose in this chapter. Okay. So here, further Prabhupada points out in this purport that the Lord, it is not that the Lord will always, his only duty is to always reciprocate with all the living entities in this material world. Although he is the one who is providing everything to the living entities, he is the one who is satisfying their desires as Paramatma, whatever according to their karma, he's indirectly, he's there behind. But nevertheless, the Lord personally enjoys with his devotees in his own abode. That is what is mentioned in this verse. The Madhama or the Swadhama is described in the Bhagavad Gita. That we have many times heard that the Lord's abode is completely independent and it's not being affected. It does not have to look for electricity, or the Lord's abode is self-illuminating. Na tad bhasayate suryo na sashanko na pavakaha yad gatva nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Prabhupada also further quotes in this purport from the Svetasvatara Upanishad how everything is under the control of the Lord. The Lord's abode is self-illuminating and is self-independent. That's also mentioned here. Vishnu Thakur's commentary. Okay, by using the second person case, he implies that the Lord is directly his worshipable deity. I offer respects to the son of Vasudeva, Rishabhaya, of the Yadu dynasty, Satvatam. The phrase Rishabhaya Satvatam also implies the meaning protector of the devotees. In connection with the previous verse. You understand? The previous verse also he said that he protects the devotees. He personally, yeah, exactly. So, here also it is mentioned in connection with the, you are distant for those without bhakti. Kuyoginam. This word is being used. Kuyoginam. Whenever the letter ku becomes the opposite. Kukata, sukata, kukata. But you are not distant or hidden. The Lord is very near, simultaneously he is near and he is very far. There are no one equal or greater than you in power, Radhasa. You are the enjoyer in your Dhama, Ramsyate. So these are the words that is meaning. Okay, this is an interesting part. He further says that, what is this Dhama? What is the specialty of what is there in your Dhama? He is quoting, Tasam Madhye Sakshat Brahmagopala Purihi. In the center is the town of cowherd Krishna, which is indirectly Brahman. Radhasa indicates his power and Ramsyate indicates his sweetness. Now, in the first verse, the previous verse, it is mentioned that the Lord's plan or Lord's way of creation, the Lord's way of dealing with various energies is inconceivable. So, if you go to Bhishma's prayers, Bhishma also, in one verse, he says that it's very difficult to understand the plan of the Lord. Remember we heard this? Very difficult. Who can understand the plan of the Lord? He says. And again, in another verse, he says that, here, he says, how the Lord, who is so, he's spread everywhere himself, he's dealing with everything, still mercifully he is appeared in front of me. Now we will see that. Sarvatmanas samadrusho yadvayasyanu ahankrute tankritam mati vaishamyam niravadyasya nakvachit. Being the absolute personality of God and is present in everyone's heart, he is equally kind to everyone and is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inebriety. He is equibalence. One side is showing as Paramatma how he is very equal to everyone. Now he is again glorifying. Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu pashya bhupanu kampitam. This is text 22 of chapter 9 of the Canto 1. Yanme sungsh tyajata sakshat Krishno dharshanam agataha. Yet despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life. For I am his unflinching servant. So that's the point I said. That for his devotee he is specially available. This is this. One may say it's partiality, but this is how it is. And the mother, there are so many children, and what the mother does, although she gives sweets to all the children, she may give one more sweet to her own children. Similarly, the Lord has got special affection for his devotees. Although he is affectionate to all the living conditions, all the living beings are his own sons. Still, those sons who are reciprocating with the Father, abiding with the Father's instruction, he shows more affection. So that's the point. We will continue with his prayers. Okay, this is a famous verse to be memorized from text 15 of this chapter. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yadikshanam, yat vandanam, yat shravanam, yadarhanam, lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham, tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. So again the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Mandaram, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsarpito Vishnu, Bhaktischena Navalakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavatyadha, Tanmanye Dita Muttamam. Same word what Prahlad Maharaj used. The essence of it here, Shukadeva Goswami is also taking, and he is again focusing on Shravanam. Everything begins with the Shravanam. Shravanam of whom? Unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna. Okay. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam is being glorified, and here Prabhupada again reminds us of how the holy name is so powerful, and how in the association of devotees hearing about the Lord is also makes the Lord available to us, or the Lord is available when the holy name is chanted in a congregation. Okay. Prabhupada points out that the devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, thinking they are not associating with Him. The devotional processes of chanting, hearing, remembering, etc., either all or some of them, or even one of them, can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service of the Lord in the above manner. So we should always be very cheerful to chant the names of the Lord, to speak about the Lord, to remember the Lord. Why? By doing that, what happens? Immediately we are invoking the Lord's presence. So this is the beauty. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that the Lord is present wherever such pure transcendental service is performed. And thus the performer of offenseless kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers can also give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. So, we should always remember this, that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, this is the most important processes of the Namavida Bhakti. From there, everything, all the other things will sprout. Ultimately, the remembrance of the Lord is required. So, for that, we need to have very good Shravanam, and we should be absorbed in Kirtanam. Prabhupada, in this purport, he gives a slight warning. Again, he reminds about not to misuse the holy name of the Lord. He says, Namno bhalad yasya hi papa buddhi. And it is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. So we have to be careful about this seventh offense. If we engage in seventh offense, then we are completely misusing the Lord as our servant, as our menial servant, in trying to purify our mistakes, so-called mistakes, and we continue to do those mistakes and try to enjoy this material world, which is a very offensive attitude. It's a real attitude problem. So the seventh offense should be avoided. Okay. Text 16. Vichakshanaya charanopasadhanat sangam vyudasyo bhayatontaratmanah vindantihi brahma ghatingataklamas tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. So, let's see the translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisance again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, without difficulty progress toward spiritual existence. So very nicely here mentioned the word vichakshana refers here. What does vichakshana means? The highly intellectual, highly intelligent people. What do? They have to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Or they are taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord by surrendering to the lotus feet of the Lord. And what is the result of that? They are able to simply, very in literal terms, to say their current body is also totally purified, and in future they will not anymore get material bodies. And this they are able to achieve in a very easy way, without any difficulty. That means what? Very easy way means which way? Okay. What is that process called? Yeah, by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam is the most easiest way. That is the process called the Bhakti Yoga. By Bhakti Yoga, it's the most easiest process by which you can make this progress. Okay. So now Sri Prabhupada is nicely summarizing this Sarvodharman Parityaja, or the last three verses in this particular purport. So Sri Prabhupada says, Lord Sri Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter, everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee, In the last phase of his instruction, the Bhagavad Gita, he instructed most confidentially as follows: Sarva Gukhyatamam Bhuya Shruname Paramam Vachaha Lishtosi Me Dridamiti Tato Vakshyami He Hitam Te Hitam. So, then he quotes on Manmana Bhavana Vidon Sarvadharman Parityajya, and the translation goes like this: My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts, and I shall deliver you. Do not worry anymore. Then Prabhupada goes on to speak about the the confidential knowledge, more confidential, most confidential. Okay, he speaks about that. Then he speaks about what is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and of all the dharmas, of all the activities, the topmost activity to be performed is engaging in devotional service. Okay, Prabhupada continues, he speaks like this: one who adopts this method very skillfully, which method? The method of surrendering to Krishna, attains perfection immediately. And this perfection of human life is called Brahmagati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. As enunciated by Srila Jiva Goswami on the basis of the Vedic assurances, Brahmagati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord. And in that form, the liberated living being eternally lives on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. This is the point. He does not have to undergo any of the difficult methodologies. So he can just take up this process of Bhakti Yoga consisting of Shravanam and Kirtanam, then one can attain perfection. So again, we hear this, our Acharya is quoting this again and again, that here Brahma's prayer is being quoted, that all other processes is comparing it to beating the empty husk. You just take you collect all the empty husk and bundle it, and then you keep hitting the empty husk on the ground. How much rice you will get?
No rice.
You will be eternally doing that. So that's what all other processes are so difficult process, and with a great difficulty it may yield some result, but such a complete difficult process. So Krishna also gives a warning in the Bhagavad Gita also. Kleshodhi katarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkam dehavat vira avyapyate. Krishna says, difficult process. Why to take up this process of impersonal way of realizing the Lord. That we should not be engaged in. Okay. Let's go to the next verse. Now, after having in every verse glorifying the process of devotion, specifically in this verse he has glorified the devotion. Now, in the next two verses, we can see one by showing by a negative way. Shukadeva Goswami is acknowledging the glory of bhakti, and another in a positive way is acknowledging. Let's see in this verse, we will be able to appreciate that. Tapasvino dhana paraya sashvino manasvino mantra vidasu mangalaha shemam na vindanti vinaya darpanam tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. Now here he says in a kind of a negative way, he says, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, Tapasvino, Dhanapara, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, and those who can discriminate, the philosophers, the logicians, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles. See, all these kind of people are accommodated in the Vedic lore. They are all different kinds of people who are engaged in different activities in trying to understand the Absolute. Cannot achieve any fruitive result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. See, in a kind of negative way, you cannot, he says, cannot. Why you cannot? You have to engage in service of the Lord. You have to glorify the service of the Lord. That is the perfect process. So Prabhupada goes on in the purport to explain that one has to go through this process of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So in trying to establish this, I just will relate to you one incident. You know this Yaksha Prashna, right? When Yudhishthira Maharaj, I'm not going to narrate the entire story, but little bit I'll give you a glance of it. It will be very interesting where a particular verse is being spoken. So in this whole incident, in this Yaksha Prashna incident, we know that one of the Brahmanas wanted to perform this yajna, but that yajna sticks will be stolen by the deer, and then the deer will take it somewhere else, and then this Brahmana will ask for help, and then the Pandavas, when Yudhishthira was asked for help, Yudhishthira will first send Nakula, I think. He will send Nakula to go and then find out for this deer, and so he will go and then try to find out for the deer. Then what will happen? Then they will not be able to find out. So meanwhile, in the forest, they were also very thirsty, so they wanted to drink some water. So Nakula will go, he will go. So one by one, Nakula will go, Arjuna will go, Sahadeva will go, everybody will go try to drink water. They will die because there will be a crane demon who will actually ask him to give an answer. They will not be able to answer. They will even before trying to answer his question or anything, they will try to quench their thirst. This will happen. Then finally Yudhishthira will come. Yudhishthira also will see that everyone is dead. Then Yudhishthira will be again challenged by this crane demon. You have to answer my question. If you answer my question, then you will be able to drink water. And also maybe your brothers will also will survive. So there are so many questions and answers that will happen. So of that, there are 4 questions that are considered to be kind of a little prominent. So in that one question, he's asking about what is the news of this world. News of this world means he will ask me, so what is that is happening? So what is that is actually happening in this world? So Yudhishthira will respond saying that this world is like a big cooking pot. It's like a cooking pot. MI is cooking. That means what? Everybody is going through this birth, death, old age and disease. Okay. Then he will ask another question. Who are the happy people? So he says that the happy people are one who is completely self-realized, they have crossed this birth, death, old age. They are aware of this birth, death, old age disease. They have crossed this. Then another question, that is a famous question, which is what is the most amazing thing in this world? This Agani Bhutani Gachanti Himalayam, that is being discussed. Then comes another famous verse. Do you know what is that verse? Any guess? That's the one. He is asking, so tell me, what is the path for the absolute? To attain the absolute truth, what is the path? So at that time, Yudhishthira is answering, he's speaking this verse. Tarko pratishto shrutayo vibhinna naso rishiryasya matirna bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatav sapantah. So now we can see in this verse also. I'm just trying to read that. I'm just saying that all this big everything, all these things, nothing will actually will be able to come to a perfect conclusion unless one surrenders to a pure devotee who knows the conclusion of the scriptures, because he has realized it by his purity, by his practice, by having realized the Lord by his true devotional service. So Prabhupada here, he is pointing out here one very interesting thing. He says in his purport, everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or the service of one other than oneself. There are 2 kinds of self-interest also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Theft for personal interest, Robert says, theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. Prabhupada calls him as criminal. A thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft not for personal interest but for the interest of society or country has never been excused by the established law of any country. Prabhupada is making a mockery. Sir, I didn't steal for myself, sir. For the sake of country I stole. Okay, no problem. We'll treat you specially. People in general have no knowledge that the self-interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interest of the Lord. Okay. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, All good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together. Very strong statement. You are just an animal, he's saying. Very rare to see such kind of souls who are just maintaining the body and soul for the purpose of dharma. Dharma means for following the instructions of the Lord. I mean, even this very incident, in the same incident of Yudhishthira Maharaj answered the questions of Yaksha. After that, when Yaksha gives him, say that, I will give you one benediction. You tell me which of your brothers you want. And, as it is mentioned here, everybody will be thinking of, my brother, my mother, my father. But here Yudhishthira is such a dharmic personality. Who can be like him? He says, from our Kunti's lineage, I am there. But from Madri's lineage, nobody is there. The Nakula, Sahadeva, both of them died. So the right thing will be to ask for Nakula or Sahadeva. So when he gave a response like this to the Yaksha, Yaksha will be amazed. He says that because of your equipoised vision, all your brothers will come back alive. Then he will ask again furthermore benediction. So then they will ask further in the Virata. We may have to be incognito for a year. So we need your help so that nobody will recognize. So again, Tatastu, Yaksha will be pleased with Yamadharma's such a saintliness, and he will relate. He will be getting the blessing of Yaksha. Now the point that I am just trying to relate here is, you see, that kind of souls who are always for the principles of Dharma. Only the devotees can be like this. Not everyone can be like that. Everyone is hovering on the platform of ego, complete ego. They are trying to always think that they are right. So that's the animalistic propensity. So Prabhupada says, similarly, advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study of the Vedic literature, or even the execution of pious activities like charity, opening of hospitals, and the distribution of food grains should be done in relation with the Lord. So that is why it is mentioned that, in some or other, whatever activity, yajna, dana, tapa, karma, yajna, dana, tapa, karma, na tyajyam karyam evata. Yajna, dana, tapaschaiva, pavanani manishinam. Krishna says in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 5th verse, he points out that that's why this activity of yajna, dana, tapa should never be given up. Because always, for the conditioned souls and also for the elevated souls, it always helps them to make progress. So, and also how that should be done? That should be done for the pleasure of the Lord. Then one makes very good advancement. Okay. So again, Prabhupada is pointing out, samsiddhir haritoshanam. That's the whole key of this purport. Okay, now if we had observed here, this verse, Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. Here, all the verses are ending with this. Did you observe that? Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. Now, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out in his commentary. He says, the phrase Subhadra Shravase is repeated with each verse to show the predominance of hearing and the glories of the Lord. Very nice, no? Subhadra Shravase. So he says it is the predominance of hearing. Of all the 9 processes of bhakti, Shravanam and Kirtanam is very important. Now, of that, Kirtanam is very important we hear. And also we hear that Shravanam is the heart of Kirtan. So he is just emphasizing. Hearing and chanting, both are mentioned. Okay. Shravase refers to both hearing and chanting. Okay. So now, let's go to the next verse. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbha yavanaka sadayah yenye cha papa yadapashraya shuddhyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. Kiratas, Hunas, Andras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Shumbas, Yavanas, members of the Kasa races and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Apashraya ashrayaha. Due to his being the supreme power. Prabhavishnave namaha. Prabhavishnave refers to supreme power. beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Okay. Lord and his pure devotee can purify anyone from any background. Okay. You please go through this purport. Prabhupada is giving background of each and every race. How they are all from the lower race. Prabhupada is pointing out. And he is giving quite some details of various classes of people. From the Mahabharata, some of the quotes are given. And you can go through it. Okay. Now I am just going to go to the important section of another part of this purport. Even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. So this is the whole point here. Mahajano enagatasya pantaha, we already said, want to follow the path of Mahajanas. That means you have to take shelter of the Mahajanas. Okay. And Prabhupada is pointing out that Jesus and Muhammad were also empowered devotees who also helped, were they just came into this globe to save the conditioned people. People are in various different modes, different conditions, always trying to gratify the senses. But these people gradually are elevating them to surrender, take up to the process of engaging themselves in the service of the Lord. And from the version of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of the world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already been started, then by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-worn minds of the people in general. Amazing. Prabhupada says that it is what the minds of the people are wearing. What is worn? Dust-worn. There is only dust in the minds of the conditioned souls. Now, before I proceed further, I just have one question for you. Now, Srila Prabhupada in the purport and in this verse, if you read this verse and the kind of purport he is speaking about why the International Society for Krishna Consciousness started, what is it that is striking for you? What do you think? Why the Prabhupada has to start this International Society for Krishna Consciousness? And what is the verse speaking about? Can you relate to it?
Because everybody
to
is
convert the Kirat,
Kirat
audience
Bhavan
low-class
was
people.
How you convert them?
By giving
Krishna consciousness.
hearing,
Krishna consciousness.
making
Sharanam
it hear.
Kirtanam.
From whom?
Devotees.
This is what I am very much looking for. Because this verse says that, see, this word is a very key word. What is the key word in this verse?
Shuddhanti tasmai
Yenya cha papa yada pashraya.
Yeah, Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnaya Namaha. But even before Prabhavishnaya Namaha, there is one word, which is what is the key thing. We have been, again and again, he is pointing out that. Yata Pashra Ashrayaha. Ashrayaha. Who are those Ashrayaha? They took the shelter of whom? They took shelter of
Devotees of the Lord.
They took shelter of devotees. They are devotees of the Lord because they took shelter of the Lord. And you take shelter of those devotees. Here he is pointing out. Shukadeva Goswami. How is it possible? How is it possible that these devotees can purify Kiratas, Hunandas, Pulkashas? How is it possible? Because they have taken shelter of Prabhavishnaya Namaha. Those devotees have taken shelter of Prabhavishnaya Namaha. Vishnu is so powerful. He can do anything. There is nothing in this world which is not possible for Krishna. Mare Krishna Rake ke, Rake Krishna Mare ke. If Krishna decides to protect someone, nobody can stop it. If Krishna decides to kill someone, nobody can protect it. So this is because he is very powerful. The Lord is so powerful. What we think, what is our idea of the Supreme Lord? He is very powerful. So that's the key point here. So Prabhupada is making a very strong statement. That is why ISKCON is there. Through ISKCON, we will give shelter to all the conditioned souls, and everybody will become a great sadhu. So Prabhupada is marking a point here. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda, and in seeing that the valuable life of a human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians therefore would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees as shown by Lord Chaitanya. I heard that once in Croatia, the president of Croatia, president or prime minister, whatever. So he was very much favorable to the devotees. In one, not now, several years back, He used to come to the temple, take darshan of the deities. He used to honor prasadam in the Govindas and like that. So it became very favorable. So like that, we should make many leaders favorable to Krishna consciousness more. We should give the books of Srila Prabhupada. We should make them read books of Prabhupada. Prabhupada himself was trying it. Remember the famous photo? Prabhupada used to be with all his Bhagavatam books and who was it? Lal Bahadur Shastri, right? Prabhupada person. Prabhupada tried to meet several other leaders also. He always wanted to meet the leaders, and because he expected that when the leaders read the books, then they get inspired, then they will be able to influence the common mass. That was the idea. Prabhupada says, as Shukadeva Goswami began one of his prayers with the words Yat Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place, by which his complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. Okay, I will just narrate you one short story. What is the power of devotees? There are, by Prabhupada's association, so many devotees have changed. One incident I will just relate with you. There is one person in Fiji. Fiji we have ISKCON. He got agitated, disturbed, because in ISKCON we have kirtan, speakers, sound. This person did not like the sound that was coming out from the temple. So he wanted to file some case. Okay, he was already furious. And he reads Shiva Purana very much. He studies, kind of a devotee of Shiva. Okay, anyway, so he wanted to file a case. So what happened? There was one devotee in that local place. So this person happened to be his friend. This person who wanted to file a case. So one devotee had gone to his house. He said, "Hey, come, let's go to ISKCON. We'll go." So what are you speaking? I want to file a case, or rather, I am not exactly remembering. Either you already had filed a case against ISKCON. File a case means that they should not have this public sound and all this. So when he called, I don't want to come there. Who will come there? Like that, this person was not interested. And then he said, "Come on, let's go to ISKCON." Like that, he took him. So what happened that day when he came to the temple? There was one prominent devotee was giving Sunday class. I think it was some class. He was giving a class, and this person somehow or other he came and then sat in the temple, was hearing the class, and the class was given by His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So there was a very nice class, and this person was very impressed with the speech. He just okay, heard the class, and then he left. Then what happened? Another time, so he used to study Shiva Purana. So he used to regularly study Shiva Purana and then like that. So again like that, one day, again for some other program, he was this devotee. Some other day he took him to the program, to the temple program. So that day when he went, that time also His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there. So what had happened was that day somehow or other the local temple managers and others, they introduced him because he showed some interest. He's coming second time. They took him to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He was honoring prasadam that day. So they made him sit with him. So already, so Tamal Krishna Maharaj is such a personality. Anybody who goes close to him, they will be very much affected by that. So they were, he went. He was very sitting next to him. The prasadam also, he has got a very nice cook always. His prasadam is out of the world. Very nice. Maharaj also very specific. It's very much specific in what is cooked, what is offered to the deities and everything. So anyway, so he had a great opportunity. He was with Tamal Krishna Maharaj honoring prasadam. They were having some conversation like that. I'm just trying to make the association with the devotee, see what impact it has. So then that day after that, he went home. Then he was regularly reading Shiva Purana. In the Shiva Purana, he went across some statement that Shiva is giving instructions. He's saying that you may find you have to surrender to your guru, like that there is some instruction. So he said that you may find guru to be maybe in your opposite. He may be in your opposite party also. There is some statement like that. You may find him somewhere there also. You should take shelter of him. You should accept the guru like that. Then that made him, this person, he was living not comfortable with ISKCON. But then he spent some time with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, heard from him his classes, and then one mind is now is gradually pushing him. Then, so after that, he thought, oh, maybe, I should maybe get more and go, take more association. Then he started going more association. Then, the later we just came to know that he became, in Dallas, he became temple president in Dallas. Later, he took big responsibility. He became initiated disciple of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he is doing great service to our movement. You see, my point is, people maybe who are even little averse, we never know how the holy name works, how the association of devotee works. So we should never be pessimistic. This fellow, he will never become a devotee. Now, we never know what is Krishna's plan. So that's the point. In the ISKCON, anybody from any background, from any faith, any situation, they can become devotees. And the greatest example for this shloka in practical action is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have people from all kinds of background. From Smarta, Sri Vaishnava to Chandalas, Yavanas, whatever you may name, they all become wonderful devotees. So this is the power of the holy name, power of the pure devotees. Okay, that's what this whole shloka is all about. Okay, Prabhupada further says, a Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed, and promoting by regulatory principles the status of a pure Vaishnava who is transcendental to Brahminical culture. The system of caste or Varnashram Dharma is no longer regular even amongst the so-called followers of the system. Nor is it now possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of social, political and economic revolution. So without any reference to the particular custom of a country, one can be accepted into the Vaishnava cult spiritually, and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So by the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. So the responsibility is lying with us. We have the great responsibility of saving the lives of so many people. Although we may not be so much qualified in whatever, in Sanskrit or in big philosophy, if we know the basics of this Krishna conscious philosophy that we are hearing, as it is from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, as told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming in Parampara through Srila Prabhupada, then we will act as proper instruments in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. By following this, the message of this Parampara, we will be instruments in changing the lives of many people. So we should have faith in this. So then, by the powerful Krishna conscious process, there will be changes happening in the lives of many people. So that's the key point here. Okay. Okay. You can go through the rest of the purport. And also Prabhupada points out that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, Krishna himself, personally accepted devotees from various backgrounds, not only from higher classes, from all kinds of classes he accepted. Okay. This is the interesting one here, but I will also read a little bit from Vishnu Chakravarti's commentary. Vishnu Chakravarti says that even the condemned sinners, by just a trace of bhakti, become successful. Those born in the tribes mentioned are considered sinful by birth. Others are sinful by actions. They all become purified. Upashraya refers to the devotees. Those who surrender to the devotees, accepting those devotees as gurus, become purified. Just by taking shelter of the proper guru, sinners by birth or action become purified. This indicates that bhakti destroys the prarabdha and aprarabdha karmas. We heard this before also. That's why I wanted to read this. The low birth is the cause of impurity for the persons mentioned. The present experience of low birth is a prarabdha papa or prarabdha karma. The word shuddhyanti means they are purified. If they are purified, their bad birth must be destroyed. If their bad birth has been destroyed, their prarabdha karmas must have been destroyed. So when they are called by those names, it should be understood to be for practical purposes. It is not their spiritual designation, for it is forbidden to identify devotees by their birth. Okay, now we will see another set of prayers by Shukadeva Goswami. In this particular set of prayers, he is going to, in the previous set of prayers, we see he is continuously offering his respectful obeisances to the Lord. Now in these prayers, he will be very humbly trying to invoke the mercy of the Lord. So I can see this. That's why we have a different division of this in this particular chapter. We just divided these verses separately. So he will every time he will invoke, may the Lord be pleased with me, may the Lord be pleased with me, like that he will be humbly requesting. So that's why I've given a title like this. Shukadeva Goswami glorifies the Lord further and humbly requests the Lord to be pleased with his endeavors in answering Parikshit, and begins to narrate the conversation between Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma regarding creation. Okay, that's text 19. Saesha Atmatmavatam Madhishwaras Trayimayo Dharmamayas Gatavyalikair Ajashankaradhibhir Vitarkyalingo Bhagavan Prasidatam. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. So here it is mentioned Atmatmavatam. Probably your father is getting a name from here. Atmatma. Atmatmavatam. So Atmatmavatam refers to Atmavatam refers to the self-realized, and Atmavatam refers to that Krishna who is the master of the self-realized. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas. Trayimayo. Dharmamaya. Okay. He is the personification of the religious scriptures. Tapomaya. He is the master of personification of all the austerities. Gyatavalikair Aja. So Gyatavalikair, Prabhupada translates it here as those who are above all pretensions. That means that they are straightforward and honest people. They don't make any drama. So persons like Aja, Shankara, Adibir. Aja refers to Brahma, Shankara, Adibir. Like Aja, Shankara, Shiva, Brahma, Shiva. Like that. Vitarkya Lingo Bhagavan Prasidatam. So one who is observed with awe and veneration. Okay, that's being mentioned here. Okay, let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of different paths of self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above all pretensions. Everyone is searching for eternal peace or eternal life, and with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures, or undergoing severe austerity as empiric philosophers, as mystic yogis, or as unalloyed devotees, etc. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by the devotees because they are above all pretensions. So here, pretensions mean that all others are having, all other practitioners are having some hidden agenda, some motive. Basically, they want to somehow or other satisfy themselves. Let it be a Bhuktikami, Muktikami, or Siddhikami. They all have some inner intentions too. Bhuktikami is very grossly evident. Muktikami, in the name of Mukti, is still trying to enjoy separately from the Lord. And Siddhikami wants to enjoy separately from the Lord by attaining so many Siddhas. So, all of them are rejected here. But the devotees, they want to simply serve the Lord. So, when we say desireless, we have many times discussed this point. Their only desire is to please the Lord. That's what Prabhupada is discussing in this purport. And then Prabhupada is quoting of Arjuna, how he also had some intention before, but he completely surrendered himself to the Lord. Okay? Are you getting the point? He completely surrendered himself to the Lord. How? By accepting the words of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, and then we say, Prabhupada is quoting, Karishye Vachanam Tava. Arjuna became desireless. So whenever we say he became desireless, what? Arjuna completely became a Buddhist or what? No. Arjuna's whatever desire he had, Anya Abhilashita became Shunya for him. That's the point. His desire was Ekatvam Anupashyadaha. He became one with the Lord's desire. That was the. And what was Lord's desire? Arjuna, you fight. You fight against this Kauravas. You kill them. Arjuna accepted. That's the point. And Prabhupada here points out that Now Brahma, Shiva, Srimati Lakshmi and Kumaras are mentioned here, Prabhupada says. Why? Because these four people are the head of the four desireless Vaishnava Sampradaya. Again you see, and you may see it out of context, What is the desireless Vaishnava Sampradaya? Yes, they are desireless. The Acharyas are desireless. Meaning their only desire is to please Krishna. All other desires are totally rejected. That's very nice to see. So here Prabhupada is comparing Gatavyalikaihi as Projita Kaitavaihi. That's also very nice. He's saying that Srila Jiva Goswami interprets it like that. So Gatavyalikaihi means no other bogus desires. So that's why Bhagavatam at the beginning only rejecting Projita Kaitavotra Paramo. So for they are these Nirmatsaras. So these Nirmatsaras can relish this pure devotional service. Okay. Then Prabhupada quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then Srila Prabhupada here he is pointing out that one has to understand, one may take up all other different processes, Karma Kandya and whatever, but for everything the Lord is only the sanctioner because He is the controller. Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram Anoraniyan Anoraniyan Sa Anusmare. Then how does the verse goes? Then
Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam. Yes, Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parasta. That's what Krishna says in the Gita. Krishna says that Kavim, he is the absolute. Kavim Puranam, he is the oldest. Kavim Puranam, then Anushashitaram, he is the controller of everything. Then, what is this? Anoraniyan, he is the smallest of the smallest. He is smaller than the atom. Anoraniyan, then he knows, he is aware of everything. Okay. Then Sarvasya Dhataram, he is the one who is holding everything. Sarvasya Dhataram, everything is under his control. Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam, his form is inconceivable. He is a person. Prabhupada specifically, his translation is very interesting to see. He is a person, he is a person and his form is inconceivable. Inconceivable in the sense it's not mundane like ours. Then Aditya Varnam. So that he has there is a light of the light of the sun. The rays are emanating from his beautiful transcendental form. Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parasta. That dissipates all the darkness. So here, he says that, so that is the position of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and that Prabhupada is pointing out in this verse. Okay, Prabhupada is quoting that. And so here, after saying that all other practitioners are all trying to make advancement, but actual spiritual advancement will be made by only those pure devotees who are without any pretension. So Prabhupada says, but ultimately he is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service of the Lord by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Okay. Here is another famous verse of this section. He says, Shriyapatir Yajnapatir Prajapatir Diyangpatir Lokapatir Dharapatihi Patirghatis Chandaka Vrishnis Satvatam Prasidhatang Me Bhagavan Satang Patihi. So we will see each and how the Lord is the master of every, how he is the pati of everyone. We will see that. May Lord Sri Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector of and glory of all the kings like Andaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all goddesses of fortune, the director of all sacrifices and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all in all, be merciful upon me. So since Sukadeva Goswami is one of the prominent Gata-vyalikas, so we just know Gata-vyalikas means those who are without any pretension, those who are pure devotees, only desire is to please Krishna. So he says that he is completely freed from all misconceptions, and so he is actually here glorifying Sri Krishna. He is offering his obeisance to Sri Krishna, he is begging for the mercy from Sri Krishna. So Prabhupada points out here. He therefore expresses his own realized perception of Lord Sri Krishna as being the sum total of all perfection, the personality of Godhead. Shriyapatihi. So Prabhupada glorifies how Krishna is actually the Shriyapati. The pure devotees of Lord, of the Lord, like Shukadeva Goswami, who was completely detached from the abominable sex life of the material world, discuss this act of the Lord's pleasure potency, certainly not in relation to sex, but to relish a transcendental taste inconceivable to the mundaners who are after sex life. Sex life in the mundane world is the root cause of being conditioned with the shackles of illusion, and certainly Shukadeva Goswami is never interested in the sex life of the mundane world. Nor does the manifestation of the Lord's pleasure potency have any connection with such degraded things. Lord Chaitanya was a strict sannyasi so much so that he did not allow any woman to come near him, not even to bow down and offer respects. If you just not forget, how once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified his servant Govinda. So once when the Gita Govinda was recited by one of the ladies in the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was was a little at a far distance. He came running, rushing through the entire crowd, and he wanted to come and then embrace the singer. Govinda was running with double the speed. And then he went and then he just went and stopped Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that he said that, here is a lady who is reciting. You are a sannyasi, you cannot do that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Person of God himself. But still, to set the standards, to set the example, he showed that actually, Govinda, you saved me. You saved myself. He was showing such a humility. So he's showing the standard. So the point here is that here Srila Prabhupada is pointing out one by one characters. Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, strict sannyasi. There is nothing mundane about the Rasa Leela or the loving affairs between Radha Krishna and the gopis. It's not something mundane that's being pointed out here. Okay. Then he further quotes the how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified that Ramananda Rai was so glorious that he was even decorated. He was for Shriyapati is being discussed. He never even heard the prayers of the Devadasis offered in the temple of Jagannatha, because sannyasi is forbidden to hear songs by the fair sex. Sorry, I was just speaking about the Ramananda Rai, how he was so great that he could decorate the Devadasis. Okay, that's again another point. Nobody can imitate that in another purpose. Prabhupada is saying that. Okay. So here the point is, he recommended the mode of worship preferred by the gopis of Vrindavan as the topmost loving service possible to be rendered to the Lord. And Srimati Radharani is the principal head of all such goddesses of fortune. And therefore, she is the pleasure counterpart of the Lord and is non-different from Krishna. So Prabhupada is pointing out that he is the Shriyapatihi. So when we say Shriyapatihi, Krishna is so glorious, so topmost, even all. But when his relationship with the Srimati Radharani and the gopis is so much glorified, and it is being sung by all the great personalities. So that is being mentioned. Yajnapatihi. So then it is being mentioned that how he is the Yajamana, how he is the Yajnapati, how Yajyo vai Vishnuhu. So Yajnartat Karmano. That is being Prabhupada is pointing out that. And of all the different Yajyas, the topmost Yajya in the Kali Yuga is Sankirtana Yajya. So Prabhupada points out that in the purport. Then he is the Prajapatihi. So he is the one, because of his mercy only so many jivas are coming in this world, and he is the one who is protecting all the jivas also. Yeko bahunam yo vidadati kama. That's also Prabhupada is pointing out. And Diyampati. Okay, one may say, he's such an intelligence, he can, do so many things. What all those intelligence are actually coming from? Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself. That also Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here. One person is highly intelligent by the grace of the Lord, and another is a fool by the same control. Therefore, the Lord is Diyampati, or the Lord of intelligence. Then he says Lokapatir, Dharapatir. So without him, none of the material worlds are going to float in his position. Because of him only, everything is all the Lokapatir. He is the Diyampatir, Lokapatir. He is holding all the earth, all the planets also. So Prabhupada immediately he says, so one should use the intelligence and surrender to such a personality. Here he makes another nice point, Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Often he discusses that in many lectures also. He just continuously makes this point. We were just hearing a couple of days back a lecture on Kunti's prayers. Prabhupada is making a point that it's a simple point, but it's a very thoughtful point, which we also saw at the beginning of the class today. So he says the senses belong to Sri Krishna. The body belongs to Sri Krishna. Whatever single ingredient we see in this material world belongs to Sri Krishna. So the proper usage of all those things is that it should be engaged in the service of the Lord. then it will be perfect. That's what here he is pointing out. Therefore, he is the real proprietor of everything in this universe. The conditioned soul can enjoy a fragment of this material creation under the control of the Lord, but not self-sufficiently. That is the instruction in the Isha Upanishad. One should be satisfied with things awarded by the Lord of the universe. It is out of madness only that one tries to encroach upon another's share of material happiness, material possessions. You see, Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching us giving us such a profound knowledge that just by giving oral reception to this, immediately we feel that, let everything be given to Krishna. And whatever that the Lord thinks that is required for me for His service, I'll accept it happily. And one gets that satisfaction. This is the beauty of this Krishna conscious process. Immediately heart is satisfied. But when you just start to read something else, open the newspaper, you hear about she's very beautiful. Immediately there is envy. I also want to be beautiful like that. This fellow is so rich. This politics, that politics. So immediately mind is filled with garbage. Immediately there's tendency of greed, anger, envy, everything creeps in. So that's why we should always be engaged in Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That is required for us. That will save us from all kinds of these lower tendencies. Prabhupada here makes a little mockery here. You can read that purport. He says, when the Lord descends, He proves how much greater is His ability to enjoy. And He exhibits His power of enjoyment, for instance, by marrying 16,000 wives at once. Can anybody imagine this? The conditioned soul is very proud of becoming the husband of even one wife. But the Lord laughs at this. The intelligent man can know who is the real husband. Factually, the Lord is the husband of all the women in His creation. But a conditioned soul, under the control of the Lord, feels proud to be the husband of one or two wives. So here you make a big contrast between the conditioned soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are several ways we differentiate how the Lord is great and we are very insignificant. This is one attribute we can see. The Lord can marry as many wives He wants, but we cannot even manage one wife. So that's the point. Immediately our pride comes down. Should come down. Yadangra vidyana samadhi dhautaya dhyanu pashyanti hi tattvamatmanah vadanti chaitat kavayo yatharucham same mukundo bhagavan prasidatam. It is the personality of God, Sri Krishna, who gives liberation. By thinking of His lotus feet at every second, following the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of Him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. So here is a nice reminder that is given by Shukadeva Goswami how to see the Lord. The Lord can be seen every second by the mercy of remembering His lotus feet. How? By following the footsteps of the authorities. That's a nice point, huh? It is mentioned here. That's what is Anupashyanti. That's the whole point here. In verse. Dhyana Diya Anupashyanti. So, with Diya Anupashyanti refers to what? Diya refers to intelligence. What kind of intelligence? Clear intelligence. So, our intelligence becomes clear when we simply follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees. Otherwise, we will start to speculate so many things. So, Prabhupada points out here that the mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the diseases of material enjoyment. So this is the result of taking shelter of the pure devotee. Then by taking shelter of pure devotee, we will every second remember the lotus feet of the Lord, and our intelligence will be cleansed. Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Yavadhrani Viduno Susatam. This is what happens. Okay, Prabhupada quotes from Mukundamala Stotra, and he says that one will be purified by taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Okay. So why the Lord is giving oral reception to the devotee? Because he submitted himself to his devotee and engaged in the Lord's service. Now Prabhupada points out that what is actually happening to the devotee. This humbleness of the pure devotee who is 100% engaged in his service puts the devotee of the Lord in a trance by which to realize everything. Because to the sincere devotee of the Lord, the Lord reveals Himself, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10:10. The Lord being the Lord of the intelligence in everyone, even in the non-devotee, favors his devotee with proper intelligence so that automatically the pure devotee is enlightened with the factual truth about the Lord and his different energies. See, the Lord mercifully reveals it. The Lord is revealed not by one's speculative power or by one's verbal jugglery over the absolute truth. Rather, he reveals himself to a devotee when he is fully satisfied with the devotee's service attitude. So what is the words? Atasri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriya sevon mukhehi jigvado swayam eva. Shukadeva Goswami is not a mental speculator or compromiser following the theory of as many conclusions as many ways. Rather, he prays to the Lord only, invoking his transcendental pleasure. That is the way of knowing the Lord. This is the beauty. Whatever they know, they just speak from the scriptures. No, it may be like this, it may be like that. No such speculation. So these great personalities are glorified. One time, one person came to Srila Prabhupada and then he said, Swami Prabhupada, we saw your purport, the commentary for your Bhagavad Gita. We see there is a lot of similarities between your commentary and the commentary of Sripad Ramanujacharya. He said, yes, we follow the parampara, Prabhupada. That person said that, oh, you are kind of repeating it. Yes, that is parampara, Srila Prabhupada explained. So that is the thing. Why to speculate something? A devotee will express his realizations, but what the realizations will always be in accordance with the message of the parampara, Acharya, previous Acharya. No, nothing new that is being explained here. What's that Prabhupada used to say? Old wine in the new bottle. I mean, the point is that same message, but it could be with different analogies according to time, place, and situation. Acharyas may give the message, but the message will be the same. They will not change it. Okay, text 22. Prachoditayena pura saraswati vitanvata jasya satim smritim hridi swalakshana pradurabhut kilasyata same rishinam vrishabha prasidatam. May the Lord, who in the beginning of the creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. So now he is actually glorifying Brahmadev. How he, by hearing from the Supreme Lord, Hridayadi Kavaye, right? The entire knowledge of the Vedas were revealed to him, and he was able to engage in creation because of the Supreme Lord's mercy. So let that Lord who inspired Brahma to create be merciful to me. Be pleased with my effort to answer Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. So Prabhupada here in the purport he says, this Brahma or Aja is also a living being, part and parcel of the Lord. But being the most pious devotee of the Lord, Brahma is inspired by the Lord to create, subsequent to the main creation by the Lord, through the agency of material nature. Therefore, neither the material nature nor Brahma is independent of the Lord. The material scientist can merely observe the reactions of the material nature without understanding the direction between such activities. As a child can see the action of electricity without any knowledge of the powerhouse engineer, this imperfect knowledge of the material scientist is due to a poor fund of knowledge. So Prabhupada, in the previous some of the purpose also he gave the same example. Again he is repeating the same thing. Prabhupada says, Brahma is undoubtedly the speaker of the Vedic knowledge, but actually he was inspired with the Lord to receive such transcendental knowledge as it directly descends from the Lord. The Vedas are therefore called Apurushaya, or not imparted by any created being. Now here it is. Here Prabhupada is quoting. Shukadeva Goswami is praying to the Lord by dint of being inspired from within by the Lord so that he could rightly explain the facts and figures of creation as inquired by Maharaj Parikshit. This is an amazing thing. Because he is going to speak about the entire cosmology. He is going to speak about the creation, secondary creation, how the planets are coming. So many informations he has to give. He is going to speak about the distances between the planets, positions of the planets. To speak all these things, he is praying to the Lord. Let me give the proper facts and figures. Let me not give wrong information. Okay, so how nicely he is praying. You can see this. So here it is that a spiritual master is not a theoretical speculator like the mundane scholar, but is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, expert in understanding the Vedic conclusion, disciplic succession, and therefore constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Prabhupada is quoting Mundaka Upanishad to point out that everything will be revealed to a bona fide disciple, because if he has full faith in the words of the spiritual master, he should also have full faith in the words of the Supreme Lord. Then knowledge will be revealed to him. Text 23. Bhutair mahadviraimah puro vibhur nirmaya shete yadamu shupurushaha bhungte gunan so shodashatmakah solam krishishta bhagavan vachamsi me. So here is another nice word. He says, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in this Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of the material modes, which are this generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. So Prabhupada says, as a fully dependent devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own ability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead, so that his statements may be successful and be appreciated by the hearers. The devotee always thinks of himself as instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to take credit for anything done by himself. This is a very nice attitude being set here. Oh, one point I missed to tell in the entire praise. Actually, this is also, we can call it as Mangala Charana. This praise we can call it as Mangala Charana. Why?
Before speaking.
Yeah, he's invoking auspiciousness by this prayer. So it's can be called Mangala Charana by Shukadeva Goswami before he speaks the Bhagavad. Yeah. So here he sets the right attitude. He says that let my words be decorated by your mercy. Let me speak in a very nice way, so that the hearers are inspired. Okay, this is another interesting thing. There are so many speakers today. Recently we were, I'm not going to mention the names of some of the speakers who knows many shlokas, who can, very wonderfully present it, such timing, such rhymes, so many historical facts in a very chronological way they can present. They can, very poetic way, very artistic, the pronunciations, everything so wonderful. But what is the most important key value that should be preserved or should be followed? This point is mentioned here. Prabhupada mentions it very nicely. He says, the truths described in the Vedic literatures are not theories of mundane imagination, nor are they fictitious, as the less intelligent class of men sometimes think. Are you able to understand what Prabhupada says here? Fictitious means also not some imaginary things. It's all facts. The Vedic truths are all perfect descriptions of the factual truth without any mistake or illusion. And Shukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of creation not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation. There are some things which are there in the Bhagavatam which we may not be able to comprehend. For example, birds flying from one planet to another planet. While flying, it is carrying elephants on its beak, correct? And it is laying eggs. How do you understand? How do you perceive it? When we say like these kind of things, they say, you don't speak philosophy, you don't bring in some other things like that. But the devotee has full faith in this. He presents it as it is. If somebody asks how it is like this. It's full faith. Not that he becomes, actually, it's not exactly like that, but actually it is mentioned. See, sometimes there are some stories also there. Not like this, we don't know, it's a fact. You may not be able to perceive it at this point of time. But when we are completely purified and then thoroughly cleansed, we will be able to see many of the things. That's why Prabhupada said that when you are completely purified at that point of time, you will be able to see many of the things that is in the scriptures. To the level we are realized, to that level we need to know, we need to have the knowledge in the love service of the Lord. Things we will be able to perceive it. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
That's what is mentioned here. Shukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of creation not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject, since he would be dictated to by the Lord exactly in the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. So that is the point. Shukadeva prays for the mercy of the Lord, not only for being helped personally in presenting the truth, but also for helping others to whom he would like to speak. This is so wonderful, huh?
Wow.
This is a great Vaishnava, shows how wonderful it is. That he actually prays for the mercy of the hearers also. Let them also with rapt attention hear this message. We may pray, but also from the hearer side, we should make endeavors to hear attentively. But here, actually, so from this we can learn that when a devotee gives a class, when a devotee wants to share the Harikatha, his intention is to bring auspiciousness to all the hearers. That is his intention. So Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. Always think the welfare of others. Okay. Namastasmai bhagavate vasudevaya vedase papurjnanam ayam saumya yanmukam buruhasavam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. Now, after having explained, offering obeisances to all the great devotees, to the Supreme Lord, now he is offering to Vyasadeva himself, who actually gave this transcendental message. Okay. In persons of the specific utterance Vedase, or the compiler of the system of transcendental knowledge, Srila Sridhara Swami has commented that the respectful obeisances are offered to Srila Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Srila Jiva Goswami has agreed to this, but Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has made a further advance, namely that the nectar from the mouth of Lord Krishna is transferred to his different consorts, and thus they learn the finer arts of music, dance, dressing, decorations, and all such things which are relished by the Lord. This is Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Such music, dance, and decorations enjoyed by the Lord are certainly not anything mundane, because the Lord is addressed in the very beginning as Para or transcendental. So one should therefore try to understand the Vedic scriptures or the nectar transferred by the Lord to his consorts in the conjugal humor from the lotus-like mouth of Vyasadeva or Shukadeva. Because whatever the Lord's amazing activities and pastimes that are happening, they are able to understand them, they are able to give that out. That nectar is flowing from Shukadeva's mouth, from Vyasadeva's mouth. So we should hear that. And then Prabhupada, the rest of the purport, he points out. Okay, I'll read that. By gradual development of transcendental knowledge, one can rise to the stage of transcendental arts of music and dance displayed by the Lord in his Rasa Leela. Gradually you can go to that, don't directly jump there. But without having the Vedic knowledge, one can hardly understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's rasa dance and music. The pure devotees of the Lord, however, can equally relish the nectar in the form of the profound philosophical discourses and in the form of kissing by the Lord in the rasa dance, as there is no mundane distinction between the two. So, to understand all these different gradations to the highest level of pure devotional service, we have to with great attention give proper oral reception to the pure devotee who has relished it, and by step following the advice given for us in the process of sadhana bhakti, we will be able to one day go to the higher levels of devotional service. It is possible when we just follow the parampara properly. Etad evatma bhurajan naradhaya viprichyate Veda garbho vyadat sakshad yad aha hariratmanaha. My dear king, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject, as it was directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. So we already heard that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, he gave this Vedic knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma in turn gave to Narada. So now that's what is done. Now Shukadeva Goswami is going to relate what Brahma spoke to Narada. One can get all types of information from the Vedas, and as such Brahma was impregnated with all perfect knowledge, so that it was possible for him to create. Thus Brahma knew the perfect description of creation, as it was exactly apprised to him by the Supreme Lord Hari. Brahma, on being questioned by Narada, told Narada exactly what he had heard directly from the Lord. Narada again told exactly the same thing to Vyasa, and Vyasa also told Shukadeva exactly what he had heard from Narada. And Shukadeva was going to repeat the same statements as he had heard from Vyasa. This is the way of Vedic understanding. The language of the Vedas can be revealed only by the above mentioned desertic succession and not otherwise. Okay, any questions? Any realizations? Yes.
This shloka number 22, bro.
Once again. Yes.
This translation, bro.
Yeah.
Here it is said that Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, of his own self and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. So in this, from the mouth of Brahma,
That's what I will speed this. May the Lord, who in the beginning of the creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. Now the question is, what is it that here in the translation it says, who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma? How to understand that Vishnu appeared from the mouth of Brahma? That's the question. Now, in the commentary of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he very nicely clarifies that. First of all, we can understand that the Vedas generated from the mouth of Brahma. So in that way, the Lord appeared through the mouth of Brahma. That's one thing. And also, there is another explanation. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is making it very simple. I'll read the translation of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's explanation for this verse. May the Lord, the best of the sages, be pleased with me, inspired by him. At the beginning of the Kalpa, Saraswati, whose aim is to reveal Krishna, appeared from the mouth of Brahma and revealed proper memory to carry out creation in his heart. So this is making it even more clear that she wanted to reveal Krishna. So Krishna appeared through the mouth of Brahma through the Vedas. Is it clear? Okay. Now again I will just elaborate that. Just as the Lord made the Vedas flow from the mouth of Brahma, may he let the description of the pastimes flow from my mouth. That wish is expressed in this verse. Inspired by the Lord, Saraswati, the form of the Vedas, appeared Pradur Abhuta from Brahma's mouth, Asyataha, at the beginning of the Kalpa Pura, and revealed proper memory in his heart. Saraswati shows Krishna as the object of worship. So that's the point. Because if you can also see, there is another quote which explains that finally, by the study of the Vedas and everything, whom should be understood? Krishna should be understood. Krishna has to be revealed. So through the Vedas, the Lord is born. Like that. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.